There's some developing good news coming from the future of the Congressional Medal of Honor Museum that will be housed in Mount Pleasant. I speak exclusively with Chairman of the Congressional Medal of Honor Museum Foundation, Tom McQueeney, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Tom McQueeney, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin.
Yeah, obviously you're the chairman of the Congressional, Medal of Honor Foundation. And I know, last time we spoke one-on-one about your plans of opening an actual Congressional Medal of Honor Leadership and Educational Center right there by Patriots Point, where I ran past last night. What's new? What's now?
Yeah, that's a great question. You ready for about 20 minutes?
Sure, I have it.
There's so much new information. I don't want to overload you, but we have been quite busy during this COVID time. We've been doing, like you're doing now, meeting just about every week, sometimes even more frequently by Zoom. And that's our executive committee of our board. And we've gotten a lot of things done. I'll just go down a list.
Okay.
We hired an exhibit designer.
Okay.
And we've completed that charrette of what our exhibits are going to look like in the new museum. We've completed an agreement with Patriots Point Redevelopment Authority for a property right there at the entrance to Patriots Point.
Okay.
Is where the museum will be. If you see the guard gate going into Patriots Point,
right,
that's where the museum will be.
Okay.
All right, and then we've gotten a land planner to place that museum on that property so that we fall in with all the setbacks and zonings and all the restrictions that are required not only by Patriots Point, but also by the town of Mount Pleasant, who's been a benefactor. They've been very supportive. We've also hired an architectural firm, and they've completed their study and their plans for this museum. It'll be a 2-story, 50-foot building. It'll be very patriotic,
yes,
overlooking the harbor. And I can't say enough about them. This is Click Baim Architects. Our land planner was Seaman Whiteside. And of course, our exhibit designer was Healy Kohler Associates. And they're out of Washington, D.C. Now, they're the only firm that we hired that weren't local to this area. So all the money that we're going to spend on this is going to be in this area. We also hired Dan Rogge and Associates, who've been fantastic, and they're really our consultant, and they're going to be our fundraising team. And Momentum Marketing, which is also another Charleston firm.
Right.
And so Momentum is doing our website, doing all our printed matter, doing all our upfront advertising. So they're going to have a tremendous job going forward. Quintin, this is all to say that things are all in place. We had a very important call with the Congressional Medal of Honor Society leadership, their president and vice president, today at 11 o'clock. Right. And that went very well. We'd had understandings that we had been working back and forth, and they have a meeting in Fort Worth on January 8th. So this was in preparation for that meeting to vote on things that are essential to us to move this to the museum they and we want it to be. So those agreements have been made, and verbally we'll get them codified by the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. These are the recipients, right, their board, on January 8th. So that was very important.
Yes, sir.
So all that's going forward. What I'm real excited about is, we have walked up these stairs and we've gotten to the top of the stairs where we can start going down the stairs now, because what's happening is our fundraising campaign starts January. So we're right there. Your timing couldn't be better to talk to us about the museum.
Right.
And as you can see, despite my voice,
Right.
I'm extraordinarily excited about what we're doing, mostly because of the people that we've engaged to do it, not only the professionals, but our board of directors, who are the who's who of Charleston. And they've been very supportive. Then we also have a national board and a local group that supports all of us. And they're just fantastic too. There's more than 50 members of that group, which we call the Special Forces Team. And they do everything from helping us with websites, raising money, construction, anything that we need, and their points of contact. So things are really going well. And I just can't wait for next week because we'll be going full bore to get all this done.
Right. Absolutely. Let me break down a couple of things. The exhibit designer, when did you find this particular person?
We went on a national search. We had 9 finalists that we whittled down to 3. And this group was out of DC, right, was head and shoulders exactly what we needed. And it was just a small little story we didn't know until after we got into that engagement. These are the same people that have redone the new visitor center in downtown Charleston.
Right.
So they are very familiar with this community and our traditions and the type of architecture, what this population is. And we're very fortunate, Quintin, that Charleston is one of those places in the country that just stands out as a population full of patriots, people that love this country. And there's always been a big military component here. That could be a reason. A lot of military retirees, a lot of people that enlisted from here. I'm on another board with another organization that's the Ralph H. Johnson Memorial Fund. Well, a lot of people don't know who Ralph Johnson was. He was a Medal of Honor recipient. He gave his life for this country in the Vietnam War. He's a minority, and he's from downtown Charleston. We ought to be very proud to associate ourselves with Ralph Johnson.
That's amazing. And you talked earlier about obviously completing an agreement with the Patriots Points, I think it's the Redevelopment or the Development Authority.
Yeah.
What did you all agree to?
Well, there's a Development Authority, and I used to serve on that board, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. The main thing is that we needed to find a place that we could put this museum that would work in with their master plan. And that worked out to be in essence, near the original site, but not actually the original site. The original site they were looking at would involve a road movement that we didn't need. So we didn't need anything that large. We're just doing 50,000 square feet. We're doing this based on a lot of things we didn't know going into it that we know now. For instance, that we found out going across the country, people go into museums and their average time they spend in a museum is only 90 minutes. So once you get past about 50,000 square feet, you've probably lost them. They're not going to see it all. So you need to pack in that 50,000 square feet very well. So we'll have 25,000 on the first floor, and on the second floor is the Leadership and Education Center. And that's where we'll have archival space for the Medal of Honor. We'll be able to move the Medal of Honor offices from the Yorktown to the new site. So the Medal of Honor Society's national headquarters will remain there. We'll have leadership and education space, classrooms. We'll have some other like roving exhibit space, and other types of event space that could be used up there as well. But it's all about the youth of America. That whole second floor is not so much to bring people in as it is for us to digitally build that leadership and education platform and put it in every classroom in this country for the young people.
Yes, sir. And when I spoke with you for Quintin's close-ups last time, you also told me that you hope to, obviously, as you just mentioned, bring those offices into the building, with obviously to sustain the building with events and obviously a chapel. What else do you want to sustain?
Well, and I'm glad you asked that question, Quintin, because there's three functions that we raise money for. The first one is the building itself. When I tell you we've been busy, we've already priced this building through a contractor, what it's going to cost. And the building itself is going to cost $31 million. That's $4 million lower than we projected. The exhibits, however, will cost $11 million, which is $1 million more than we projected. So a net gain for us of $3 million in terms of cost. However, we've also amended what we're raising money for to include $5 million in our foundation for sustainability.
Right.
So just like this COVID that we've gone through for almost a year, if we had that situation, how would we sustain that building? We need to have a large fund that protects the interest of the state and the Medal of Honor and Patriots Point Development Authority so that building would be sustained in perpetuity. So we've put that in as an amended piece of our goals.
And I'm trying to remember when I was talking to you last year over in Mount Pleasant office. Yeah. I believe you were telling me that you could also have an opportunity to swap some exhibits with the Texas location.
Well, both Chattanooga, Texas, and other museums. For instance, we might be able to swap exhibits with perhaps some of the museum artifacts that are at West Point, or the Naval Academy or Air Force Academy, or other museums across the country. A great example would be the World War II Museum that everybody raves about that's down in New Orleans. So we're hoping to be able to move some of our, especially a lot of these Medal of Honor archives, around so the country learns who these people are and what they sacrificed in the name of our freedoms. So those things we will coordinate. We're working on synergy both with the Texas Museum. We hope they're successful. The same with the Coolidge Museum. That's Charles Coolidge, who's the recipient. He's 99 years old now, and he's the oldest living recipient. And that museum is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we'll kind of work with everyone to make sure that this gets out to the public. This is not anything we want to keep a secret.
Right.
Patriotism should never be a secret. So that's our goal.
As a matter of fact, in the last interview I did with you in October 2019 for Quintin's Close-Up, you said that we feel like we need to rediscover patriotism. How do you rediscover patriotism right now?
Yeah, I think when we talked about that a while back, we didn't know what was going to go on in the country with all kinds of different things that came down our way that just seem to be separators of people that want freedom, they want peace, they want to live the American dream. And so I think we're very timely in that what we're trying to do is refocus on who we are as Americans. In fact, when you go in our museum, the very first room you go in is named We Are Americans. And then we start going through the different conflicts where the recipients have won their different awards.
Right.
So these are very important, but we go through everything, including for instance, the Indian engagements and the Native American engagements. We go through the Spanish-American War. We go through conflicts and other places that people didn't know were in our history. For instance, the Philippines. But we go all the way to Fallujah. So all these different things are represented in the museum. It's going to be interactive. There's going to be a lot of things that people will enjoy. We'll have a special place for VR, virtual reality. That'll be fun. And then when we come through, we'll come to the main gallery of the recipients, where you can punch in any recipient and you can make a guide on for your family. So you can invent, the Quintin Washington family guide on, and you can make it right there in the museum. So there's some real nice interactive things as well. And so that whole main section is what we fight for. And then we get through, our future, where we're going as Americans. So we see this as we've got some patchwork to do going forward in our country. And this is a great way to do it, is re-identify who we are and what we mean to each other and why it's so important moving forward to identify as who we are and be proud of being Americans.
Who are we?
Yeah. Well, that's a big question recently, isn't it? Yeah. What do we identify as? So we got to find the things we agree upon before we can even get to the things we don't agree upon. So, and I think that's important. I think that our museum can and the Leadership and Education Center can bring those values forward. So when you say, who are we? I think the question is, what are our values? What are important to us? Family, freedoms, faith, what parts of our lifestyles and our American, our Declaration of Independence and so forth, what can we preen out of there that gives us a sense of who we are? What is American exceptionalism? People ask that question. Well, why are people just doing everything they can to get into the U.S.? There are not many people leaving. They all want to be here. So we got to find what those ingredients are. And, it could be that, that there's a chance that anyone born here can do anything they want to do. And we want to show that. Quintin, I don't know about you, but I'm one of 9 children. And we grew up in a 4-room house in downtown Charleston with 1 bathroom. When I grew up, my dad was a World War II veteran, U.S. Navy, and he didn't get to go to college because he was in a war. And then he got married and started having children. Well, I kind of look at that as he gave us a start, and him and my mother stayed together till they died, and they pointed us in a direction, and it was up to us. They didn't give us any money. They didn't give us any special things. There was no inheritance. It was all about you build it from within yourself to who you can be and what you can mean to your country and to your family and to your church and to your community and your friends. And I think we need to get back to that.
Yes, sir. And what direction do you hope that this particular museum will go in 2025, 26, 27, 28, 2030?
Yeah, what I think it's going to become is a must-see destination for people coming from all over the country. And, speaking about that, it's another reason you have sustainability funds, because you don't want to get dry. You want to keep that museum moving so that there are different things that are brought in, different things in the leadership and education platform. So we need to always remember that museums cannot be static. They've got to be something that when you or your children, you come in the front door, you're, first of all, you're inquisitive, and maybe, you look up and see things and you say, wow, or you hear things or you feel things. But we've been saying all along, the most important door there is the back door. How did that museum change you and change your outlook on who you are, how responsible you should be? What is the patriotism part of your life? How do you feel about yourself as an American?
Yes, indeed. And you talk about funds. I know during the last interview I did with you in October, you said, hey, we have actually identified $13 million. Where have you identified that so far?
Yes. Well, we started out with the town of Mount Pleasant, who's been very, very supportive of us getting forward. And we've had, 3 board members that have just come forward and funded parts. We had one board member that funded the architecture, one board member that funded all of our marketing, and one board member did all our legal work. So these were all gratis. Now this is amazing that these people have come forward and helped us. And another one helped us with, of course, he passed away, Mr. Bill Hall, with Hall's Chalk House.
Yeah.
But he came forward. He was a true American. He served in the military.
Wow.
But Bill Hall, I can't say enough about him. He quietly, nobody knew he did it, but he paid for all of our upfront costs with getting our consultant and our fundraising team together. Mr. Tommy Baker.
Oh, yes.
And when you buy a car, buy it from Tommy. What he did for us, we could never repay him. But he's the guy that funded all of our architectural work. And so that was, as you can imagine, very, very expensive undertaking. And so, we can't thank them enough. Mr. Neil Robinson, who, by the way, he's doing well, but he found out he had COVID last week. And he's our vice chair. And he's a lot more interesting guy to talk to than me. So I would have had him on, but Neil is a very powerful local attorney. He put together the deal for Boeing.
Right.
Come to Charleston. But Neil has handled all of our legal work with no cost.
Oh.
So, it's just been amazing how people have come forward and done things. We have other members of our board that they've taken this on as like a full-time job. There's no other way to put it.
Right.
Major General Leo Williams. I don't know if you know Jimmy Bagwell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mike Regner, Major General, Marine Corps. But these, I can name them all going forward, but I couldn't tell you how motivated and impressive our board of directors has been to get this done. They've certainly propped me up because, I've been through a few surgeries.
Right.
And I asked them if they wanted me to step down. They wouldn't let me do it.
Wow.
Yeah, they said, no, you're our man. We're going to do everything you need. So you just hang in there and we'll take care of you.
Yes, sir.
And they have.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's been not just, it's been like it's a wonderful life moment.
Yes.
But it just kind of tells you the type of people that we have.
Yes. And I just saw Billy Hall's son, Billy at Hall's Chop House just on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I know you also told me that you have over 8 million, obviously, donors committed. Who else is committing right now?
Yeah, well, we're starting in January, right. And we're doing a lot of interviews with large donors right now, and we'll announce what these as they come in. But But we wanted to build the museum first, let them see what it's going to look like. Most importantly, let them know about that our platform, leadership and education. So we needed to bring a case for support to the boardrooms all across America, to individuals that are like-minded, and to those that are even local. I'm talking about people that are interested in giving us 50 or $100. That's great. We want as many of those as we can get. But to get from where we are, you asked about the money. We've got we've hopefully we'll get the state commitment completed in January or February. The state, of course, legislature has not been able to meet. So, but we feel pretty good that they're going to come back and get that support completed. We have a contingent support from the Charleston County for $5 million, but that's also predicated on the state money. So the state money really brings us in $10 million. But we don't want to just depend on public money. We want to go to the private sources, which we've been working, and we've got, several leads on people that are, I can't mention, of course,
Right.
but it could likely be, seven-figure donors and others that at very significant amounts moving forward. And when you think about it, we can turn shovels for this museum probably at about $22 million, based on our agreements with Patriots Point and the Congressional Medal of Honor. But that doesn't stop us from fundraising. We still got to raise. In my book, I'm saying $47 million. We don't know what could change in the interim. Let's just call it at the top $50 million. That's eminently doable. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. I'm going to say that it's very doable. And we've got the right team in place to do that, the right people, and the right place. This is one of the most brilliant sites, the most important sites on the East Coast of the United States, overlooking the Yorktown and Charleston Harbor, and maybe the greatest bridge in the country right now. An engineering masterpiece. And you're looking at the most historic city in America. So there's no other piece of land like it anywhere. And I might have mentioned this to you way back when,
Right.
But where else can you go into a museum? You're a young child and you're impressed with what's in there. And you walk out and you can go touch a tank or a helicopter,
Right.
or walk onto an aircraft carrier or destroyer, or go to a Vietnam village, or go see any of the great planes that are on the deck of the Yorktown, or a flight simulator. Yorktown is loaded with all kinds of artifacts that you wouldn't see anywhere else in the country. It's an amazing place, and we're going to be a big part of their success. They've already created it. We just need to augment it.
Absolutely. And let me go back to what you said at the top. You talk about those setbacks in zoning. You talked to me earlier, last year actually, about the permits. How is the permit process going right now?
Yeah, we just made our first presentation to the full town of Mount Pleasant Council back on December 8th.
Okay.
It went very well. In fact, one of the council members started an ovation. We weren't expecting that, but it was really made us feel well about what we were doing, and they were behind us, and we appreciated that very much. So from there, we'll go to their planning commission, and from their planning commission, they'll represent that back to the council. We've already gone to also their economic development committee. Did that, I think, December 1st. And they love what we're doing, which is great. It's great when you have other people that are in high places that are so important to what you're doing, to get buy-in and be able to see the same vision that you see. And we've got that with the town of Mount Pleasant, and we're very thankful. Now we need to bring that vision to all the rest of the community, and so that everybody can see how important this is to our nation, and to, bringing back tourism to South Carolina.
As a matter of fact, you talk about economic development. How much money do you hope this museum will generate for the town of Mount Pleasant and obviously the Low Country?
Yeah, in round numbers, I think we did I wish I had that number in front of me, but in round numbers, we did an impact study. This was before COVID, so it was based on numbers we had in 2019. And I believe we were somewhere in that $170 million per year economic impact. So it's considerable.
Absolutely. And I want to go and drill on something that you talked about earlier, and it might be a redundant question. You might give me a redundant answer, but it's okay. But let me ask you this. I know in the last interview that you told me that you were hoping to get $5 million back from the state. The state was actually holding, that is, after the last group dropped their plans to build the museum at the Yorktown. Has your organization gotten that money back thus far?
Well, the state has kind of targeted for us, but no, they haven't met. So after we talked, the COVID thing just knocked everything back. And so they did, a lot of things they needed to do during COVID, frankly. And at one time they had parked that money into Parks, Recreation, and Tourism. I'm not so sure that they still have it there. I don't know exactly where, it'll come from. And it might be a whole new thing that they do. But in any event, we've made contacts with everyone from the governor down, and we feel very confident that they're going to step back in and help us get this done. It benefits the state.
Yes, sir.
It benefits the community, and it certainly gets tourism back on track.
And I know, too, I want to ask this question because we talked about this in October of last year, but how do you make the South Carolina donors whole again as the Texas location is under construction?
Yeah, that's an area that we covered, and that's something you and I talked about. We want to make sure that everybody is made whole. Understand, we're not the people that left; somebody else left.
Right. And
whether you made a $100 donation or a $50,000 donation, we have made everyone aware that has made these donations. And if anybody's listening to your program and they aren't aware of it, they need to know this. We're going to give you credit for that donation, even though we didn't get the money.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're stretching out to make sure that the people here are made whole.
And how many of those donors have you all identified from that angle?
Well, we have identified more than a handful of major donors that are very thankful that we're doing that. And we will find some others. We've had some come forward, but we'll locate some others once we go public in January, so that people will know. And if we could find, we've got some records, not all of them, but we hopefully will get access to all records from that Texas group. And if somebody made a donation, we're going to make sure they get credit for that donation here.
Yes, yeah. And for those people who want to currently donate to the Congressional Medal of Honor Museum that was actually going to be built in Mount Pleasant at Patriots Point, how should they do that right now?
It's pretty easy. Just go to our website, NMOH, National Medal of Honor Museum Foundation, MF, NMOHMF.org.
Okay.
And there's a donate button on the screen.
Okay, that's amazing.
But take your time, go through the website and see what it's going to look like.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Sorry about the delay. And how would that architectural design look, say, 2 years from now?
Well, I think you're going to be impressed. We decided to use the American flag. This actually came from Glickbeam Architects right here in Charleston.
Yes.
And they looked at all the ways that the American flag has played a role in our history, not just in wars, but a flag is laid over the coffin of a fallen soldier. A flag is given to the widow of someone in the military, even if they died 50 years later. A flag is just part of everything we do, from 4th of July celebrations, Memorial Day, Veterans Day. So a flag is what kind of binds us all together as Americans. So we looked at one of the great symbols of where the flag was used, and that's at Iwo Jima, where they raised the flag on Mount Kiribachi. So you might know that history a little bit, but everybody's seen that vision because it was videoed, and there's still photography of it that's from World War II. So that raising of the flag on Iwo Jima shows the furl of the flag moving, and we're going to use that to shade the glassy side of the building so that you'll see a flag moving in the lobby just from the sun moving across it. And that's going to be done with a composite material. I think it's going to be a metal alloy so that the salt doesn't get to it and so forth. So that'll be there. So you'll recognize as soon as you drive up that that's a symbol of Iwo Jima. By the way, there were many, many recipients from that battle.
Man, some inspirational stories there. Well, Tom McQueeney, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
Well, thank you, Quintin. And anytime you need anything, you give me a call. I'm always, it's always fun talking with you.
Likewise, and I hope to come and stop by the office with my face covering on and say hello to you soon.
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
I definitely will. I definitely will.
All right, you take care.
Likewise.
All right.